Look at this. I might get my own personal coaching session. Me and Sherry.
You deserve it.
Thank you. Very kind of you. So I had a listing appointment yesterday, and the seller's listing expired with a different agent last year at a price that didn't sell last year. And I asked her what price she would like to list it at this time, and she said last year's price. And then I went through. Have you seen this yet, Denny? Denny, you can price it to compete, to be competitive, or you can price it to negotiate. Did you see the hand gestures there?
Yeah. So actually, I wasn't paying attention to much your hands. Don't know that I ever heard that before. I was just soaking that in. What did she say?
She said, I'd like to price it at 190. We can always come down. I said, well, I'll leave this with you. And I got her to sign all of the other paperwork, but not the listing agreement. And I said, I'll email this to you and then we'll reconvene tomorrow. And then she called me just as I was preparing the email today. And she said, I want to price it at, and she went to the price that was like the lowest comp that's on or the lowest active property that's on the market right now. So I think this tells me that she's a processor. She's not a person to make quick decisions.
So, all right. Was that a Jeff Glover script? Compete or
No, this is a Debbie Orr script. She got it from her coach. Debbie Orr is like a rock star agent. You can price it to be competitive, or you can price it to negotiate.
Okay, so how do you think I would evaluate that from the Dennyism lens?
So I'm just giving you a sliver, right? You don't know the conversation that precedes it and what follows it, but from that point there, I think you might like it because we don't give them a price, right? They determine their price. What wouldn't you like about it? Well, there would be other questions, and I had other questions, and she pondered them, and that's why today she called me and priced it at a price even lower than I was going to suggest.
Well, what's interesting, here's what I would not like about it, to be in the purest form. I mean, I like it. However, when you when you give it that, I know you didn't set a number, you know, that's my style. Good job. Is that when if they say,
Oh,
well,
no, I did all of that. That's why I said you only saw the I'm only telling you the sliver.
let me finish.
Okay.
And you say, you want to price it for competitive or negotiate. All right, let's price it to negotiate. All right. And where would that be?
So Jenna, you would like to price it to negotiate.
Yes.
And when we look at the other properties on the market, and I'm showing you what they're priced at and how long they've been on the market.
Okay.
And then I'm going to go to your motivation, which is what I did with her yesterday. I said, so if we price it to negotiate, Denny, does this help you reach your goal of selling it quickly?
I got it, but you're not picking up yet. So what are you implying? He says, let's price it to negotiate. You're making you're implying something.
Oh, that it's overpriced.
No, you're implying that you might have an offer to negotiate.
Oh,
And what if you don't? Then they're going to say, well, you told me this would be where we'd get offers and negotiate. So I mean, I have to turn up the horsepower of the microscope to find something could be potentially wrong with it, but that would be a consideration. So that's all.
yeah. So to give you another sliver, I said I went back to the comps and I said, so if you would like to price it at that, you're kind of in the boat where this person is, and they've been on the market, and I pointed and I have it highlighted. And she said 314 days. I said, does that help you reach your goal? And she said, no. So
And then also now we're getting ready to restart. You might want to share with me the message you gave me, because that was a different listing appointment, right? You gave me a message this week.
oh yeah, I shared it on one of the calls. I'm happy to share it again.
Yeah, I don't know if it was this call. So let me just get
Yeah,
here.
it was one of the recon calls.
Yeah, so, all right, guys, it's 1 o'clock here Eastern time, so I'm made Louise co-host. You can kind of keep an eye on that. It'd be great. Welcome to Mastery. And today is actually, oh yes, it's November 1st. And what we do here is we kind of dive deeper into some of the concepts that I think that will serve you as you have your conversations with your clients. And again, what we practice is question-based, so no statements, no filibusters, no Stephen King novels. We try to keep our conversations and our speaking up to 20 to 30 seconds at the most, which I'm breaking my rule right now. And we do question-based, listening enhanced conversations. And so anybody want to start? Louise, of course, has been, she's my co-host, and she's been a kind of one of my disciples. You had something to share, so share it with everyone. And this may be something we'll talk about today.
Okay, so I shared with Denny in a voicemail how grateful I am for his 3 outcome sheet, because I had 2 price reductions with clients this week that went smoother than butter. I prefaced, we had the conversation at the listing appointment. One of 3 things will happen, right? And each week, this will be one of the first things we discussed. And in advance of the weekly phone call, I sent the communication with the attachment. And both times, the sellers, we didn't even have the conversation, right? They just called. One of them texted me, let's adjust the price to this number. And another one called me and said, okay, we're going to drop it to this price. How easy was that? And I thought to myself, it was very easy because we set it up that way.
Beautiful. All right. I know that you guys might be seeing some listings, some of the bulls I'm doing. I think I've got somebody on here from Denver. They're seeing the market change, inventory go up at a 10-year high. I see Susan's back from California. Their market always seems to do good. So where would you like to start? Just raise your hand and we'll start. And if you want pot's luck, I'll be a buyer or seller and I'll throw one at you. Or if you want to attempt to stump me or somebody else here, bring it on. It's Friday.
Hey, Frank's hand is up, but may I add one more comment to what I just shared?
Sure.
The guy that called me, the seller that called me, he said, I don't want to give my house away. And I said, what does giving your house away look like? And then he said, okay, let's just make it this price. And that was it. I asked him the question, what does that look like?
It's kind of like a buyer saying, I don't want to overpay. Well, what does that look like? All right, Frank. Frank, you were on Role Play at Recon today. And just for you guys that are watching this on YouTube, I appreciate it if you're on YouTube and you want to join this, just go to dennysmastery.com and you can join us live. I do have a YouTube channel with about 240 different videos you can watch. Cures insomnia right away. And if you like a little bit more in the morning, we have a 30-minute role play daily called Recon. So Frank, you were on this morning's Recon in your cheery old self. So what would you like to work on today, Mr. Frank?
Well, I raised my hand to make a comment on what Louise was saying. And that is that if you put things up front at the very beginning, if you do got to go back for repositioning or something changes, the market changes, report comes bad back from inspection or something, it's so easy because they're already prepared and are accepting of whatever you say.
All right, got it. If you're the girl you're dating knows that you're into football and don't talk to you on Sundays, you should be surprised when Sunday comes and you're watching. Right? It's about expectations. Jose, how are you today? Where are you calling from?
Virginia Beach.
Wow, awesome place there. So, what would you like to work on today, Jose?
Expires.
Outbound call or expired at the table?
Outbound call.
Oh boy. Okay, we're going to get to do that. All right. So, have you been on the calls before?
I have.
All right, good. Can't wait to have this. And you're going to call. I'll let Louise. Who is Jose calling? Louise.
Jose is calling.
Call me.
Well, we just had.
Call Susan.
Yeah, call Susan.
Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hi, is this Susan?
Yeah. Who's this?
Good morning, Susan. My name is Jose Hernandez with Keller Williams. You're the owner of 123 Main Street, correct?
Yes.
Am I the first one to call you to let you know that your listing came off the market?
Yeah, yeah, like the 40th callers.
Is the 40th the lucky number?
Well, can I tell you, I'm actually using my phone as a business call. So
Okay.
I'm getting a lot, I'm getting a lot of calls.
Okay. And is it everybody calling you to let you know that your listing has come off the market? Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Has one of those called been your real estate agent?
No.
Okay, well that's could be good or bad. My question to you is, how important is it to sell this house?
I don't even know you. Why do you want to know?
The reason I was calling you is to see if you're still interested in selling it and where you'd be going if you did sell the house.
Well, I'm going to take it off for a little bit. I'm going to wait until next year after the election.
Okay,
You can call me back then.
the election is just 5 days away. What's important about the election?
Well, it depends on who is the winner.
How,
Keep
what,
going. I'm kind
go ahead,
of,
Denny.
no, I keep going. I'm kind of interested in this. You've got another 30 seconds. Go.
What outcome are you looking for in the election? How is that going to benefit the sale of your home?
All wins, and if Trump wins, it depends.
What would happen if Trump wins or the other person wins?
Well, I just have to see what's going to happen.
Time. Okay, Jose, how'd it feel?
I was lost there, trying to use the stuff that we've seen in your recon role plays, but I don't think I had a specific destination with the questions other than just to dig a deeper.
Right. Well, okay. So I'll give some feedback, and Louise or anybody else, Susan, anybody else want to give him a little sample?
He really likes to get to my motivation, but I really like the question he said to me. Did your agent call you? I love that. It really is it's a pattern interrupt. And I actually like that because I'm gonna use that one day. I'm gonna use it. I literally call expired. That's how I build my business around it. But I like what you just said.
With one of
Did
those
your agent
calls
call
from your agent, I think. That's
Yeah,
great.
I love that.
Good job. Here's my feedback for you, Jose. The bull ride's 15 seconds. And you just said, well, hey, look, am I your first caller? Which is kind of a pattern interrupt, which is an unusual question. So I made note of that. Then you ask another, how many of you had 40? Am I the lucky one? And then you ask the question Susan's talking about, was one of them your agent? And I thought about that. I said, okay, that's an interesting question. However, what if they said no, and that's the answer you're probably hoping for. What would you say if they said yes? I've talked to my agent 3 times already today.
Have you re-signed a agreement?
Okay, but my point is, here's my big point. You were on the call 43 seconds before you got to the meat of it, which would be basically, it doesn't really matter what the call, if she's had other calls or if you're number 40 or not. I don't think that's really important, although it's a different approach. The bottom line is that you were at 43 seconds before you ask her, hey, look, you still want to sell, what's your plans, etc. So that's well beyond the bull ride. So you'd have to have somebody who's a little bit talkative to wait that long to get to the crux of your question. And just the second point is, and somebody else can add some feedback. If they said, the danger in asking that you talk to your agent, was your agent one of them, is if they say yes, it's a little trickier to handle than if they said no. That's my only feedback. You can try it, Susan, or anybody wants to try it. However,
Well, if I were to say yes, if someone were to say,
hang on, let me finish. Be ready for them to say yes. Now, then what would you say, Susan?
I would say, oh, how did that conversation go?
Okay, and this is great. Now, again, I'm only being a little bit of a black hat here. Does it matter?
I was waiting for someone to ask about motivation. If your home had sold, where were you moving to?
Okay. Right. So that's just feedback. One more thing, Jose, do you have anything in front of you, or were you kind of going from memory / wing it?
Memory/winging it.
Yeah, so you might want to get something written out that you really like, particularly your bull ride. and see where
Gotcha.
it goes.
Thank you.
All right, good job. Who's next, Louise? Where'd she go? Do I lose her? All right. Hey, listen, by the way, look at your guys' name. I don't know why it comes up as Sherry, and you can't have that many Sherrys. I know a lot of people here I recognize them. So Sherry/Barnabas, your hand is up. And that's probably Louise coming back in. I don't know. So what are we doing, Barnabas?
I was calling some expires today, and I kind of wanted to try to role play one of the objections they were giving me. I don't know if you want to be the agent just to overcome it, or if I should try it on somebody else, because I was kind of stumped on how to overcome the objection.
Well, what is the objection?
There's two objections. One was, no, we're not going to sell it. We didn't get the price we want. We're just going to rent it. And the other one was, well, we need to fix it up a little bit, and then once we fix it up, we're going to relist with our agent, and we're going to get the price we want. Once we
Okay.
do a little renovation, so.
That's two different role plays. So Barnabas, I'll let you do pick whatever one you want. And I'm going to go to Whitney. You can be that expired for first. And the first one you're going to give him would be, hey, look, we have to fix it up before we sell it, before we sell it. And this, now remember, going back to the first role play we had, I forgot to mention this. When you're calling it expired, and Susan was the expired, she was going to wait until when? After the election. And why I'm on the subject, very dangerous question and topic to get into as far as who she's voting for. You might want to kind of be careful, that could be thin ice there. However, she had her home on the market before the election. The election is just a few days away. Now she wants to wait until after the election. I find that kind of puzzling. So Whitney, do you know what your excuse is? I mean,
I need to do some renovations, get the most money.
So Barnabas is calling you on the phone. Go.
All right, ring, ring.
Hello.
Hello, Whitney. This is Barnabas here with Keller Williams. I saw your home just came off the market.
Wait a minute. All right, do a burpee or something. What happened?
I don't know. What do you mean?
Well, that was this from the bull ride. You fell off like in 3 seconds.
Okay. All right, sure.
Start over. Let's go.
Just jump right
Hey.
into the thing.
Okay. So,
Ring.
yes. Hey, hello, Whitney. This is Barnabas here with Keller Williams. Now, before you hang up, I was hoping I could ask you something real quick. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay, yeah, Whitney, I saw your home on 123 Main Street just came off the market. Were you aware of that?
Yeah, do you want to buy it?
Well, not me specifically, but I do want to just find out if you'd be interested in relisting it. If somebody came along today and offered you the same price you would have taken yesterday, would you take that?
I don't know. I think I'm going to do some updates and put it back on the market and
Okay,
get more money.
sure. So you want to do a few updates and you get a little more money for it? Okay.
Yep.
Do you know how much you plan on spending to update that?
I'm gonna stop. Okay, now
That's the weeds.
you are
Yeah,
driving your car. You're driving your car with a blindfold. Is that an important question?
No, probably not. And that's where I'm stuck. Is like, oh no, I'm gonna fix it up and then I'm gonna relist it. That's the objection. I'm not sure how to overcome that.
Well, does anybody else have it? Here's the question that comes to my mind. Well, let me ask you, if you could sell it, if there was a buyer out there that would buy it the way it is, and it was a satisfactory number, would you like to save yourself that hassle? That could be.
That's cool.
Anybody else have a question you might ask in that case?
What if you just said something like, great, and when you do relist it, I'd like to apply for the job of your next agent. Just go for the ask.
Okay, here's another one. Did you realize that according to, here we go. I'm going to go to Whitney. Can I share an interesting fact with you?
Sure.
Now I'm asking permission. This is a little bit cheating. I'm asking for permission to make a statement. All right, so that was a question. There's a report out there by the National Association of Real Estate Agents, or Realtors, and home builders, that when sellers fix up their houses, they might invest $10,000, they're only going to get $7,000 back. Would you like to have a discussion about what you're doing and if it would be the right thing to do in order to sell your house? I might go and put a little bit of doubt or fear in them because there is a report out there and there's almost nothing a seller can do that will give them 100% or 105% return on money. Something like that. How do you like that question?
And that's coming from contribution too. Dr.
Yeah.
Lauren has her hand up.
Are you ready to role play or you have a comment, Dr. Warren?
I'm ready to role play. The only comment I was going to make before you already asked the question, Denny, you know, if someone was able to give you an offer that meets your needs as the house is, would you move forward with it? That was my question.
So before we'll let you just hang tight. We'll get to you in a second. A couple other things I want to say, Barnabas, is this. What was the first question you asked as you were completing? All right, let's go back to your bull ride. I liked your pattern interrupt. Before you hang up, may I ask a question? Now, then there was a pause. That's a yes or no, could be dangerous. How could you, hey, before you hang up, can I want to take 30 seconds and ask you a question. Go into the question. Don't wait for the response.
Okay.
That's number one. Now, what was the question you asked? Does anybody remember? You can't, don't say Barnabas. I want to know who was listening. What did you guys hear? Do you remember the question, Barnabas?
Something about the house coming off the market. The one I have in my script is I saw your property came off the market. I assume that's because it sold, right? And the idea is to get them to say, well, no, it didn't sell, blah, blah, blah. And then you kind of go into interesting and other questions after that. So.
Well, again, so that's I like that question better than the one you asked. You asked,
Okay.
Were you aware it's no longer market, or were you aware that it expired? I forget it. You were asking them. Now, what's the probability, you guys, that you are the first caller? I think low. And again, this is just my thinking. You don't have to, take my advice, but my advice is if we're limited in amount of time and questions, make your best question your first, not a throwaway. Like, were you aware? Were you aware that if you don't get up early, you're going to be late for work? Yeah, I already know that. Does that make sense, you guys?
Yep.
The other thing, Barnabas, clearly is you have a conversation in front of you and you did not use it. That's why you were herky jerky.
Yeah.
Last point. I'm not beating up on you. You started going down the road and what they're going to do and how much they're going to invest. That's what I call time, because you lost track. You should have. What is your objective? What is your objective in the call?
To get a listing appointment.
Well, to have a conversation that maybe goes into an appointment.
Yeah.
You think it's dangerous to get into the weeds on those types of issues?
Oh, no, absolutely. And what I was looking for is what you said is like, could I share that interesting fact with you that when sellers fix up because I didn't have that idea of a script, but I'm like, that's the line of thinking. I was like, well, is it going to cost you more to fix it up than you'll gain profit wise? So I like your suggestion of when sellers, fix up their properties, a lot of times they're not getting the money back, or however you said. I'll have to go back and listen to the recording on YouTube to see how you phrase that. But that's
just thinking about it, I think the best question is, well, listen, if somebody were to give you buy it just the way it is, would you sell it to them at the right number?
Yeah.
I mean, that's simple. Any other comments for Barnabas? So everyone can benefit.
Just for clarification, so Denny, you would basically start it, hey, before you hang up, can I ask you a question? Were you aware your home came off the market? And then they're like, yes, no. And then you go into, if someone were to buy or let's just say, oh, I'm going to do some work. I'm like, cool. Well, if someone were to come and offer you something as is, would you be willing to consider?
Well,
you can sell it as is. Sorry, that was messy, but
no, it's okay. I understand what you're saying. No, I like Barnabas' second question better than one that he has. Hey, I'm going to ask you a quick question. I see your home is no longer for sale. I'm assuming that's because it's sold. Is that true?
Got it.
Yeah.
I like that better. So,
anyways, that's great, guys. Thank you.
All right, you mentioned Barnabas. All right, DLG.
Oh, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay. I am doing a expired, and it can be whatever objection, doesn't matter.
All right, I'm gonna give you the second one, and this will be at the table. Barnabas, what was that second one? One was fixing it up. What was the other one you wanted to talk about? Did you hang up?
He's gonna rent.
Okay, all right, so,
Yeah.
all right, so, then, who said that?
That was me.
All right, Jose, you're gonna be at the table. Dr. One called you, you're expired, coming over, hey, look, you know, she might have a buyer. And your objection is, I think I'll rent. You ready, Dr. Lauren? This is at the table.
Yeah.
All right, go.
Okay, Jose. Other than considering renting, is there any other reason why you wouldn't move forward with working with me today?
Yeah, we were on the market for a while, and it just shows that I don't think we're gonna get what we need. So I think the best thing for us to do is to rent it out and see where we're at.
Okay. Tell me a little bit more about that. What was the number that you need?
We were on the market for 350.
And what number do you need to net?
350 would be good.
Okay, so 350 sale price. Okay. And what does that 350 do for your next plan?
Well, we're just gonna try to reinvest it in other properties.
Okay. And if you don't sell this 350 and you end up renting, how does that change your plan to invest in other properties?
It will be put on hold.
Is that ideal?
Not necessarily ideal, but it's manageable.
Manageable. Okay. So this property doesn't sell. You rent it for a little while. And how long do you plan on renting it?
Typically we do a year lease.
Okay. So then after a year, what are your plans after that?
We'll have to see where the market is after a year.
That's 1:30. I'm gonna pause you right there.
Sorry, I'm trying to get information. I'm trying to get into this. Yeah, I'm trying to get more information.
Okay, well, a couple of you guys here, what do you think? What'd you hear that you like, or what would be a little sandpaper for Dr. Lauren?
I like asking, what were you gonna do with that money? And he said reinvest. So renting obviously doesn't help him reinvest. Or maybe at a very slow rate, right?
Well, when you say reinvest, if he's gonna reinvest, I mean, would you not assume that that is an investment property, that he's gonna sell it and buy something else? Is that what you heard?
That's kind of what it sounded like. And I would say, okay,
That's what I
great.
heard.
So it sounds like you want to do a 1031 exchange.
Okay.
Right.
What else, you guys?
So I was thinking, instead of selling, now he wants to rent. Then I would quickly ask him, well, Jose, would you want to get calls at 12 o'clock at night when there's a plumbing situation?
If you're gonna go down the road of going into the pain of being the landlord, I think, and there's nothing wrong with it, I think a good question to ask first, have you ever been a landlord? Have you ever rented property before?
Yeah.
And if they,
That's right.
and again, they might say, yeah, I've done a lot of times, and that now you would ask a different follow-up question, but that would be the first one I'd ask. You know, one thing that I got kind of wondered about, first of all, when you went on the appointment, it was an expired listing, you would have known it was on the market at 350, correct, Dr. Warren?
Yeah, of course.
And you would know how long it's been on active, et cetera. Now you
Yeah,
spent
can you hear me?
Yeah, so you spent a lot of time talking about 350. One of the things I want you to do, right, and I make the funny comment all the time, you can fly any airline you want. However, when it comes to numbers, you gotta fly Delta, right? So watch this. I want to ask this question. So Jose, so you had it on the market at 350, and most sellers realize that, you know, that may be a starting point to open negotiations. In the end, what were you hoping to sell it for?
350.
And did you have any offers at all during the time you had it on the market?
No.
So would that not indicate to you that the market's not willing to pay 350 for it?
Possibility.
Is there a number below that that would still make this work for you?
Yes.
That's where I wanted you to go. I mean, that's where I would have gone. I mean, just because he says 350 and, you know, you talked about that, this, that, and the other. If anyone is selling something, this is kind of my assumption. They're probably somewhat prepared mentally that they might not get every penny of that. They might have to sell it for $349.9. So what I want you to do, whenever numbers come up, I want you to start looking at the delta. Well, yeah, you know, and I might say, well, okay, so 350 didn't work. What number might work for you? Jose?
Yeah.
Be open for, yeah.
So I would have gone down that road as far as talking to him, and then you know, then I would take Susan's route. Have you ever rented before? And where you were going, if you had enough time, all right, he's going to rent a year. And what if he's going to rent a year, particularly if they're not quite used to managing property? What would have been a great question to keep them in paying? There's two more avenues. What would it have been?
What if you decide to sell at the end of the year and the market's in a different place?
There you go. There's market risk. And so if you're in Florida, so all right, so let's talk about that. Let's go. I mean, if you had sold it last year, I can talk about the Florida market. You would have received more money. And in the direction of the market. So are you saying it's worth renting for a year to sell it for less in a year? So I'm asking the question, am I predicting the market? No, I'm talking about trends. Remember, there's three things we know. We know what's the past, we know the present, and we know the trends. There's one more avenue. And it was around Susan's idea of getting the calls at night. How will the house look in a year? So I might say, well, take a good look around. Have you ever rented anybody before? No, take a good look around, because this is as good. Your house won't look like this in a year. Is that okay with you? So there you go. Market risk is always a consideration. And of course, people don't know what they're getting into when they rent. It's kind of like getting married. Can I say that? No, I can't say that. Okay, I won't say it. All right, who's next? I got Susan's hand up. Susan, what are we doing?
So I this morning got an objection. Before I even say anything, he goes, do not call me, do not call me, do not call me. And he is the seller. Because I addressed him by his last name. And then he's like, do not call me, do not call me. So I got stunned. I'm like, oh my God, okay, what do you say?
All right, so you're calling him and he says, don't call.
Right.
Okay.
That might-
Before I even have anything, before I even open my mouth.
That could be a do not call thing. You might want to move on.
No, hang on. What is it? Does he have his house for sale? Is he a buy owner or what?
It's an expired. So I do my usual opening line, and then he heard what I have to say, that he said, do not call me, do not call me, do not call me.
He said it 3 times?
Yeah, but he's
Okay.
still on the phone. So I'm like, okay, fine. You know what? I just got stung. So I'm like, okay, let me hang up and I just move on.
What was
So
your opening line?
Ring, ring.
Hello?
Ron will play with me. Ring, ring.
Hello?
Hi, this is Susan. I'm calling about wait. Hi, this is Susan. Louise, I was calling about your house. When will you be putting it back on the market?
Do not call me, do not call me, do not call me.
Wow, is this a bad time to speak to you? I think that's the best. Yeah. Is this a bad time to call you?
Just don't call me.
Okay. Did I just reach the property owner over on 123 Maple Street?
Yes.
Great. Just out of curiosity, had you sold the property, what would it do for you and your family?
This is me. I'm a solo owner. It's just me, myself, and I.
I see.
I wonder if it would be better to, like, could you just say, don't call you, would you like me to come over?
No, I think no. I
Oh my
think that's
gosh.
it. No, I think that's right. I would have said, oh, you prefer I text you?
I
Yeah.
like that. But that's kind of like, ooh.
No, hey, listen, may I tell you a really quick story? I don't think I ever told. Yeah, and so you guys will get the humor, right? Sometimes that the right angle works. It's you got to be careful. You got to be confident, because what do you have to lose when somebody just says, "Don't call me"? I like it. Hey, well, okay, I'm happy to pop over. Whatever. There was a lady in real estate a number of years ago. She told the story. I never forgot it. She is a very experienced, very good agent from South Carolina. South Carolina, they're very friendly in Carolina, right? And they have that Southern accent and whatever. She's on the phone with somebody from the Northeast. And this guy is like one of those "don't call me" type guys, right? Direct, and they're used to fast pace. And when you're from the South, you might call somebody darling or whatever, And the guy said, "Look, I don't like you calling me darling." And she said, "Okay, you prefer asshole?" And that guy cracked up, because it was like, it was one of those things like, oh, we're going to get along great. So I'm not suggesting I never use profanity ever when I'm with a customer. The point was, like, Louise came on, okay, I'm happy to meet with you. That might just like make him stop a little bit and laugh at himself.
I called
I like that.
I called an expire a while back, and he had been through the ringer with people calling him, right? And he goes, "You're just another agent calling me." I said, I just want to know about the hole in the roof. He said, "What hole in the roof? We don't have a hole in the roof." I said, "Then why didn't it sell? It looks like a great home." And he started laughing, and I've had 6 transactions with him since then.
Wow.
Perfect. That's perfect. Don't be afraid to, like, iron on iron. You say anything you want with a smile. So, who's next?
Whitney, want to come up?
Sure.
What's your scenario? You're gonna call. I know this is not Sherry Baracco, because it
No
doesn't
more
look like
calls.
a Sherry.
No more calls. I want at the table.
I'll be
Okay.
the person. You tell me what you want to go over.
Who wants to be the agent at the table with Whitney? Dr. Lauren, have you gone yet?
Yeah, she's been an agent.
I did. I went already, but if no one else wants to go, I'll go again.
Go for
Well,
it.
does anyone want to hear something funny? So I was circle prospecting around an open house, and I called someone, and they're like, "Don't call me." And I was like, "Okay, cool, I won't." Then I was like, "Who is this person?" And I Googled them, and it's an agent that was mad that I had already done a door drop, all these things. And so you never know, but keep going. We can do circle prospecting. Looking
No,
for
we're not
listings.
calling. We're at the table.
Oh, we're at the table.
All right, pick a number 1 through 6. Whitney.
How about election, Denny? So I don't know if I want to be the agent, but meaning all these people that were on hold for the election, and let's pretend today's the election day, right? Or tomorrow is, or whatever. It just occurred 2 days ago. And
No, Tuesday's close enough. I have that. In fact, I changed the slide today. Number 3, I just changed it to "I want to wait." And so you can say, "I want to wait until after the election." All right, Dr.
yeah, I
Lauren.
want to be that person. Who wants to object or be the agent?
Dr.
Come on,
Lauren.
Denny, you do it.
All right, I'll do it. All right, so you ready to move
All right.
forward? You ready to move forward, Whitney?
The election just happened. I think I'm gonna wait until January. I was waiting for the election, but now I'm waiting to see how things go.
Yeah, what's funny, I had that this morning as I'm going to wait till January. Okay, so you want to wait till January. And other than waiting to January, is there any other reason why you wouldn't be putting your home on the market now?
Well, we just had a new president elected, and I'm just trying to figure out how this is all gonna play out.
Okay. Now I'm going to pause role play. I'm going to let you know. I'm going to let you know what I'm thinking. Number 1. What comes to my mind is, okay, so my first objective is to get a commitment from her that she's going to hire me in January. So that's more important. Who she's going to hire to me is more important than when she's going to hire. Does that make sense? So why would you want to have a conversation and push them towards January or doing it before January if you're not going to get the business? That's number one. Number two is, okay, then what, here's the way I think and what I'm teaching you. What's my next thought?
What's important about waiting until January?
That would be getting clarity. What else?
Her motivation, why is she moving?
Okay. And I would be digging there for what reason?
Yeah, the uncertainty, like what, right? Just keep.
Well, if a seller wants to wait until January, if you had to be on a game show,
Oh, what changed?
if you had to be on a game show, why would they wait?
Holidays, family.
Get more money.
Money.
Oh yeah.
Does
That's
she need to sell this house in order to buy her next one?
Right. So
Wait a
that,
minute.
so my natural thinking, this is the way I think. Number one, am I going to get the business when she's ready? Number two is, okay, I already can assume she's going to wait for more money because if she knew the market was going to be worse, would she wait? No. So my next thought is, okay, are you going to buy a
Lauren, can you mute yourself?
Yeah, you're in the wind, I think, Dr. Lund. Your little habit stacking going on there. So
But
the
let's
other,
do the money thing. That's super valid, right? I've talked to a few people that are like, oh, we're gonna wait. I don't know, we could probably get more money. Let's pretend they don't have to sell before they buy and they're just playing the game of I can get more money.
all right, so I'm gonna just ask you, I'll go in the role play. So when you wait, so assuming it were January now,
Yep. Oh, I've heard spring is when you get the most money.
okay. Assuming it were spring right now, would you be ready to move forward with me to get your home sold?
Yes.
So is this a question of, so I'm assuming then this isn't a question of who you're gonna hire, it's just when you're gonna put your home on the market, correct?
Yes.
All right, so now again, I don't have signed paperwork. However, at least I know she's at, well, there's 14 other people I'm gonna talk to. And by the way, if they don't give you the commitment or some feel good that they're gonna work with you, why would you continue the conversation to get them to look at
Don't
maybe
waste your time.
selling sooner? So, all right, so when you say spring, what is spring to you, Whit?
February, March. Just gonna kick the
Okay.
can.
And so when you what is the reason you want to wait till spring?
Well, I just heard that's when the most buyers are in the market traditionally. Zillow told me.
Okay. And then when you, here, I'm following the path I just laid out. Then when you sell, what are you gonna do next?
I'm just gonna move into my other property.
You already have another home, correct?
I do.
Okay. And is that home sitting empty right now?
It is.
Now, let me ask you, why did I ask that question?
Because
You
is
wanna
there
know
a
if she-
timeline tied to it? For tenants, maybe, right?
Well, I know it's costing her money to sit empty. She's paying for 2 houses, living in one. That could be a card I can use later. All right, so let me ask you this. If you thought you could get more money for your home now versus spring, would you sell it?
Yeah.
All right. Well, let me ask you then, so you're not a buyer, but do you think there's other sellers out there that might be thinking about getting their house on the market and they're gonna wait till spring?
Yeah, but like with the holidays, I don't know if it's a good time to sell.
Well, let's just follow with me just a second. So do you want to have your house for sale when there's a lot of people for sale? Or do you want to have your house for sale when there's not a lot of people for sale?
Yeah, less competition is better for me.
Okay, and do you have any idea, if this were on a game show, I might have fun with this. If this were a question on a game show, when are the most serious buyers on the market? What would you say? When is that?
right now.
No. The most serious buyers have the highest level of concentration during the holiday.
Yeah,
The highest concentration of motivation is during the holiday.
yeah.
You know why that is?
Because who wants to move during that time other than people with needs?
Yeah, and so if they're out looking because they quote have to move, they're the most motivated buyers. When is inventory the lowest in a year?
Now,
Well, anything
holidays, whatever.
from November through about the first of the year or spring. You see how I'm setting you up bite size by bite size. And so my question is this: you don't have to sell. However, if you want the most motivated buyers with the lowest amount of competition, we're coming into that market now. So how does that help you? I mean, so does that help you, Whitney?
Yeah,
Is that logical, you guys? Is that logical?
So in the beginning,
motivation
Whitney
is
said,
a winning formula.
Go ahead.
sorry, when Whitney mentioned that she has two houses and that for what I'm hearing is that the house that she's selling, she's looking for more for price rather than having real motivation in getting it sold.
Yeah,
When you price it high, this is where I says if you price it high, ultimately it's not gonna, if I were to take a listing, I probably have to beat you down in pricing it, or I'm gonna lose money in marketing the property. So I'd rather not have that conversation with you. I'm probably not gonna take that listing. I wouldn't go that rabbit hole with you and try to, unless I hear something like, is it that what trying to get the motivation why you're selling it? Are you trying to sell it so that way you don't have two mortgages, or you're trying to pay down the other one, or are you trying to use that money to to do something with it?
Can you put that in the form of a question? Put that in the form of a question.
Like, Winnie, you told me you have two houses, and this one, seems to me, what I'm hearing is you want to sell this house based on price.
I wouldn't say that. They're looking for the most money. Price wasn't even.
Okay, looking for the most
I just
money,
want the
right?
most money.
But
Yeah.
most of the time, since you're expired seller, most of the time it becomes expired because the price is too high, in my experience. And so I would say, hey, Whitney, I understand that you have another home. Help me understand, if you don't get the price that you want, what would happen?
Well, nothing. I wouldn't sell.
So you wouldn't sell. So that means that you're not a seller in this market.
I don't know if it's I think it's a mindset thing with where you're going versus what I'm saying, meaning there's sellers all day long that are like, hey, I want the most money. I want the most money. Until you understand what's the most money,
So
price is irrelevant. All these things are irrelevant, right, Denny?
let me ask a question to Susan. This is for everyone. She said what she said, and I was going to give her a pricing one because we worked on that last week, and I'm doing my best to exercise all the demons out of her from a pricing standpoint, right? So she said, well, I don't want to take a listing and spend all this money on the marketing of it if they're not realistic. So I'm going to challenge you on that, Susan. What do you spend on marketing? I mean, you don't have to tell me the numbers. You get photography, cost a few bucks to put it in MLS, which is, whatever. So where's the major expense for you?
I think it's my photography and videos. That's my standard. And then there are times that I have to go in there, and like this lady, I had to go there and buy sheets, like a duvet, to help her. so that way the picture would come out nicely. And I had to sit there and like a lot of my effort is spent on the staging it.
Time.
Yeah, but it's, you're right. I just don't want to put a listing up there and then get beaten down when they're so far off. I'll give you a case in point. This is the same conversation we had last week. The seller decided to up another 50,000. I'm like, I can't even sell for 1.4. I got you in 1.375. Now you want to up the price to 1.45? He just told me that yesterday. I'm like, okay. And now I'm like, you're wasting time.
Has anyone, out of curiosity, with a show of physical hands, has anyone ever respectfully declined the opportunity to list a property because the seller wasn't realistic?
I personally, when I do my assessment before I should go out, and then I would see the price, and I would not even call them back. If they're too far, I wouldn't call them back.
But you're telling us you just listed this person's house and you've been working it and he wants to.
All right, so we agree at 1.25. That's how I had it. Once when I staged it, he upped to 50. I'm like, so we went as 1.3. Then after when we stage it and have him move out, we go, now I'm on 1.4. I mean, I told him, we signed this. And then so that's why we got into that pick of 1.4 million. But then we got someone in at 1.375. And then now I'm about to cancel this buyer because he is a contingent sale. And I told them, okay, why don't we just cancel this one and put it back on the market? You know, well, if you're gonna put it back on the market, I want another 50,000. I'm like,
Tell
I
them
can't-
it's
I
going
have
the
a
wrong
question.
way. Like, hey,
Hang
you
on, I really don't want to know the who shot John details in the transaction.
Uh-huh.
Not everyone will benefit from that. The way we benefit is have conversations. So, and I'm happy to have a role player conversation about it, but I don't need to know the details. One question I do have is this, is that no judgment. I wonder why you're buying duvets for your clients. You know, it's like, well, they should paint their house. I'll paint the house for them. I mean, really outside of our job description, I think. I don't know that a new duvet makes it sell any better. It makes the photo better, but again, it's all about price anyway. So is that something you would like to role play? Would you like to be that seller and I'll role play with you and I would do it. I'd let you know how I would do it. It may
okay.
work for your personality. All right. So
Um,
this is somebody who wants more money for their home, right? You know how I roll on that.
yeah.
So you've had it on the market already. So just be a seller. All right. So you want 1.4 for your home. It's not been on the market before.
Yes.
You
It
want
was
one-
on the market before.
I know, but you give me the scenario and I'll role play it inside 3 minutes. I'll tell you how I'll do it. So it's been on the
Okay,
market. It's been on the market by you.
it was on the market before, so this is an expired call. It was an expired, but it then became it was a referral for me. I didn't call them.
It's been on the market at 1.4. Did you have it at 1.4?
It was on the market for 1.4, and I told them I cannot sell for 1.4. 1.2 is where my assessment was.
Got it. So, all right, so I'm meeting with you. It's expired at 1.4. We're meeting together, right?
Mhm.
All right, so all right, Susan, let me ask you, why are you selling your home?
Because I'm downsizing and I
did-
need the money
I got it. And ideally, when would you like to have that done?
as soon as possible.
And there's no wrong answer here. Based on what you think is going on in your area of California where you are, is the market working in your favor or working against you?
Um,
Tell
it is working in my favor because all home prices are going up like
I got it.
4% here.
Short answers. Okay, here we go. We got to do it fast. All right. So then basically every day you wake up, your home is worth more money. Yet the house you want to buy is going up too, right?
Yeah.
All right. So you've been on the market at 1.4 and the market has said no. What are you expecting me, if you're assuming you're going to hire me, to do that didn't happen last time?
Oh, I wanted to sell it for that price. That's what I want.
I got it. I want hair like Brad Pitt too. However, it's not possible. My question to you is this: the market is saying no to 1.4. So what would you do if you drove down the street and there's somebody sitting in a chair fishing in a Walgreens parking lot?
I think they're crazy.
What's the probability they're going to catch fish?
Nothing.
I mean, is it possible that there could be like another Noah's Ark type event where fish are going to go to Walgreens and they'll catch a fish?
They won't get, no, they won't get a fish.
I mean, I would be this direct.
Okay.
All right, so don't you think that's us? Don't you think that's you? You're sitting in a Walgreens parking lot fishing for a $1.4 million buyer. Now, here's my question. Do you want to hire an agent that's going to tell you what you need to hear, or hire an agent that's going to tell you what you want to hear, and you're still going to be there in a couple of years?
I love that.
I mean, I don't know where it's going to sell. I mean, I know that you have.
Hi, sunshine.
However, the bottom line is, I think you have that directness in you. Do you not?
I do.
All right. So then, what would the seller's question then be? Next, what would that seller say? You would show. Well, what should it be? All right. Then this is what you did. Well, here I've shown you what's going on in the neighborhood. Anything like yours is sold with around the 1-2 number. Right? Isn't that kind of what you just said?
Yes.
So if that's where the fish are biting, where do you want to throw the hook? That's exactly what I'd ask.
Well, if then it should be at 1.2, 1.2 price point.
Okay. So is that what you want? Is that where we're going to position it?
Sure.
No, I don't think your seller, I don't think your seller's probably not going to say yes based on.
Yeah, he's not going to say yes because I already have this conversation with him. And I say, look, you tried to sell this before and I did my comms. We're lucky to even get 1.37. When we had it on the market, everyone is giving us 1.1, 1.2, and that was right in the bullseyes. That was my my comp. No, but Susan, you don't live in this neighborhood. You don't understand this. This is blah blah blah. And I'm like, well, it doesn't matter. It's the opinion that that I'm giving you.
Hey, Susan, I have a question.
Sure.
If you could rewind and go back to the listing appointment, and as you're preparing the paperwork, and he's instead of him signing it for 1.25, if he told you he would only sign it for 1.45, would you still have proceeded with that?
Probably not.
So that's what he's asking you to do now.
Because it's way too far off. It's way too far off.
But I mean, he bait and switched you.
He did. Because once when I signed it, he goes, like, I know, we fixed the place.
I don't want to really I don't want to rewind the story. The bottom line is you've got a seller that wants something the market's not going to give. So you have to make the decision, do you want to take it on or not? Fair.
Would this be the opportunity to bring two pieces of paper with him? One is a modification to the listing agreement for the price, and the other one is a release and cancel.
Yeah, so here's the thing. He has to sell right now because once he didn't realize he has his own business. And the IRS, the state of California is going after him.
The details, I don't think Denny wants to get into, but the gist of it is
he needs the money right now, basically.
Well, then he'll listen to good advice, but you can't listen to somebody who's unrealistic. Like, hey, sir, I get it. Every week you think your house is worth more, but the market's going the other way. How bad do you really want to sell, or how bad do you need to sell?
Yeah. Yeah, I think right now, because I feel that he is losing confidence in me and it has nothing on my fault because I told him.
It sounds like you've lost control. Like you had control in the beginning, but then he's changed it to the point where he's gotten you buying, betting and increasing the price.
Yeah, I'm
gonna have to just have the hard conversation.
What do you have to lose by saying, hey, look, here's one of two ways. Like Louise said, okay, I tell you what, the market is clearly spoken and you're not listening. You're looking for a very, outlier situation. So I'll give you two papers. One's going to be a reposition paper. The other one's going to be a cancel the listing paper. Which one do you want?
Denny, I have a question.
Hang on one second.
If he chooses to cancel, I'm okay with that. But I might want to remind him that he's gonna run in the same situation with any other realtors out there. And then on top of that, now all the staging furniture is removed. He's gonna have to pay for the staging
Okay,
again.
That's right, that's right. I mean, it's not making any money if he's not changing, right? So.
Yeah.
People will go down with the ship. Last thing I'll say on this, then I'll go back to you, Whitney, is this. If you got to sell and there's some ancillary benefit, meaning sooner or later he'll come around, or there might be, maybe you're getting calls, maybe it's a good open house location. I might say something like this. Okay, if you want to be here, you know where the fish are biting. If you want to stay here at 1.35 or whatever, I'll do it under one condition. You're fishing in the Walgreens parking lot. I'm not going to call you. I don't want you to call me. Fair? Because you're fishing in a frigging parking lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Could you be that direct? Who could do it?
I'll try. I'll let you
Yeah,
know.
like-
I'll let you know next week.
Didn't John say this week, or someone said on Recon this week, as long as you don't call me complaining that it's not selling,
Right.
or someone said that.
So, hey, I can be your friend. We can go and we can go to Starbucks together, but I'm not talking about your home. Whitney, you had a question. What was it?
Yeah, so back to the whole January thing. You asked two questions and I can't remember what the second one was. One was, great, I want to be sure you're going to hire me in January. Not that we're essentially saying that to someone. And money was the other important thing, but you said, hey, the most important thing is who you're going to hire. And what was the other thing? Do you have any idea? If not, I can rewatch.
I think this is what Denny said before, like find out if they're going to hire someone, if they're going to hire you. I have this in our notes.
That was number
It's
one.
who you're going to hire, and do you think you're going to get the most money?
Well, I went down. The second thing is when are the highest concentration of motivated buyers? And
Yeah.
when is the inventory the lowest? I mean, the most optimum time for a seller, if you're wanting to maximize the money in your pocket, would be to sell when there's fewer sellers and the buyers out there are uber motivated.
Yeah, you had like a segue point, but it's okay. I can rewatch this. Can we do? Oh, I guess it's over. I was gonna say, can we hit the January thing again? Just quick.
You might get a coaching call. You might have 30 minutes to ask him this question. He's going to be the winner of the chicken dinner this week.
This is my call, and not the other two. So go ahead and ask the question again. I say stuff all the time. I don't remember what I said.
Thank
my
you.
life.
Recorded.
The issue is this. If a seller wants to wait, you can fill in the blank. There's a 99% probability they want to wait because, well, it could be inconvenient for them, which is, they got a wedding, graduation, who knows what, or they think they're going to get more money. Even with a wedding or graduation, if they knew they were going to get $10,000, $25,000 less, I don't think they'd wait. So they have an expectation of getting it being a better time. And what's interesting is this. The market we got out of in COVID, buyers were buying like fishing in a trout pond, talking about the opposite of fishing in a Walgreens parking lot. They were buying at exactly the wrong time. And what was driving that market, you guys? Greed.
Interest rate.
Greed. Greed. It wasn't interest rate, it was greed. Buyers love to buy when it's worth more because they feel like I buy now, it's the fear of loss. If I don't buy now, it's FOMO. It'll be worth more later. Buyers do not like to buy when the values are going down or interest rates are going down because they feel like if I wait, again, it's an excuse to wait. I get a better deal tomorrow. So. What'd you hear that we learned? Poor Susan and her seller.
This
You
was
gotta
all great. So thank you. I took a ton of notes.
You should let your seller know that they're famous because you've got people around the country that we talked about them for 2 weeks.
Don't list an overpriced property. That's what I learned.
Yeah, well, it wasn't meant to be.
They baited, you got baited and switched.
I actually want to use this line. You know what? Then you get to keep that, you get to keep the house now. How do you put that in layman terms in a nice
Oh,
way?
yeah. Good news. We have a buyer for your house. It's you. You're the only one who's prepared to buy your house at this price.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for being on. It's happy hour somewhere, I'm sure. Probably not in You can have a mimosa in California right now. It's still legal, right?
Yeah.
Well, depending on what happens with the election, we may not be allowed to do this anymore next week. However, I trust we will. We'll see you next week. Love you. Mean it. Knucklebump. Be careful out there. Thank you for participating.
Is there no winner this week for their coaching call?
We don't draw on this one. We draw on recon.
I thought we did on Fridays too. Okay.
But who wants a coaching call?
Everyone.
We're all
Let's do
email.
Friday.
Email,
How about next Friday, group coaching?
email me at coachdannygrimes@gmail. I'll get some of you on and I'll find some time for you. All right.
Now we'll have a group call next Friday, right?
We will.